Welcome to Real Talk. I'm Faisal Karmali. Today we have Almin and Salina Kassamali, co-managing partners of Stylelabs Inc. Now I wanted them on the show because they're married. They fight, they argue, yet they're still able to have one of the best businesses in this city. So stay tuned to the end of the episode. They're going to give us their best pieces of advice for business owners and partners that are looking to grow their business. Let's get started.
It's all about the stories of the businesses and the people involved.
That's why we're here. No entrepreneur does it by themselves. Salina, Almin, thank you for coming today.
Thanks for having us.
I'm happy that you're here because you are the first couple that's been on this show. And we've talked to many entrepreneurs talking about how they deal with family and stuff, but we've never had two entrepreneurs on the show that are married, working together, go home together, raise a family together. So I'm excited to talk about that. So let's kind of get into that right away.
We both started off in oil and gas right out of school. My background is actually in applied energy economics, which has nothing to do with entrepreneurship or marketing, right? That's usually how it works. Yeah. When we first started, I actually worked at in Canada. Salina was at Shell. And we decided we were going to be the 9-to-5 couple. We were going to raise our 3 kids and dog and have our white picket fence. And then something went off in my head and I decided I wanted to be an entrepreneur. So she stayed. She decided, you know what, I'm going to work at Shell. I'm going to hold the fort down. And for a long time, for the first 3-4 years of our first business, which was a market research company, she was my sugar mama. She was basically supporting the whole thing, you know, like this is the whole package right there, you know. So she supported the vision and held down the fort while we were trying to develop this thing. It was around 2010. I basically decided that we were primarily focused on blue chip companies on the research and strategy side. And I really wanted to help the little guy. I was just obsessed. I was fixated with it. And we had saved up a bunch of money. And the first objective we had was we wanted to be mortgage free before 35. And so I approached her and I said, Salina, I think I'm done with this company. I've got an idea and I think I found a way to hack Google. And she laughed at me and I said, I think I can do it. And I talked to my stats prof about it and we had talked about AI and all this cool stuff. This is 10 years ago. And I said, the only caveat here is I'm going to need all our money. Everything we had saved, that house we want to build for cash.
Absolutely everything.
I need every penny and our lines of credit and our credit cards. I need everything. I'm going to need every penny. And she looked at me and she said one thing. What did you say, Salina?
Don't F it up.
Don't F it up. That's it?
That's it.
That's it.
Okay. So Salina, that's a lot of faith. That's a lot of trust.
Yeah.
I don't normally hear that. I normally hear, well, what if you took half?
Right.
And leave half just in case. Or we're going to max our line of credit. Like this is risky position.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes you need a little faith. Sometimes you need to believe in your partner and you need to support them in order to move forward. And I was willing to make sure that, you know, Almin could do this.
What was it about your partner that you said, yeah, because we kind of know our partners and people we work with and so forth, what their strengths are, what's the opportunity. And if they're going to put a risk like that,
right?
What was it about him that said to you, let's do it?
It's his heart and his tenacity to just be there and to never give up. I knew it would be successful. Don't tell him I said that, but I just knew. He's a great guy. He cares. He's brilliant, and he'll make this happen, and he'll create this upward spiral for everybody.
I took her through the whole concept, the whole idea. I took her through the vision of where we wanted to start with this website or this hub, and then turn it into an entire business ecosystem for small entrepreneurs, small businesses. I think what helped was while we were in the research company, we had actually spent tens of thousands of dollars on a website. The company said that they needed us to pay them up front. So we paid them up front and they disappeared on us.
Wow.
And at that time we're young and that was a lot of money, right? Yeah. We were doing well, but every penny counts when you're a small business. And so we'd just been through that. when I had this idea, there's actually a little bit of a backstory to it. So one of my closest friends, he was working with an agency, and I was telling him about how we'd just been ripped off on this website. And this agency that he was working with was charging him $3,000-$4,000 a month at the time, zero ROI. They were really good at putting their hands in his pocket and taking his money out, but not really delivering. So he asked me to audit his stuff. He's like, you've just been through this. You just got beaten up. Tell me what you know, right? So I went through and I'm like, and I was a researcher. I know nothing about this stuff. I'm like, none of this looks right. This website doesn't look right. There's this thing called SEO now, and I don't think they're doing it for you. And so I don't understand what they're spending money on, right? And so I had come home and told Salina about this. And like every good researcher, we had a portal called Canada Survey. We've got 100,000 people across Canada. And every time we have an idea or we want to validate something, we just blast out our panel. So I blasted out the panel and I talked to all these small business owners. And 85% of this respondent base, and I think there was over 1,000 of them, this is a long time ago, but they had been ripped off. Their web designer was either taking months to make changes, charging them hundreds of dollars an hour,
holding them hostage,
stealing their domains, taking their marketing assets, duplicating them and reselling them. This was a problem. Like I came to her and I said, give me all this money, or can I have some of our money? and I threw the research down and I gave her the schematics of the AI and I said, this is everything.
Did that give you the confidence? Did that help?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, having the research background and knowing consumer triggers and working with all these big companies on these amazing ideas. I mean, it wasn't fair that a mompreneur or a solopreneur or a small business didn't have those advantages. So it sounded like an excellent idea, but I knew Almin would take it all the way.
Let me tell you, Salina and I have spent our lives falling into potholes and hitting brick walls and speed bumps. And, the vision was that we wanted to be the company that was there for others the way we wish somebody had been there for us. And that's how I said it to her. I said, it's not fair. Being a small business, you have all this talent, you have the heart, you have the tenacity, but it's not fair. As a business, you are at the mercy of your landlord, your employees, your suppliers, the bank. And you know what? You have to go through all of these hurdles to actually fulfill that dream. There are so many terrible vendors out there that know that you've got the passion and are really good at taking your money and not giving you anything. We want it to be different. And you know what? If we had failed and if we had lost all our money, but we had given 100%, we were young enough that we could have rebounded. Well, we could have gone back to oil and gas. I would never go back to oil and gas, but we could have done something. We would have been okay, right? But you need a partner who's willing to jump off a cliff with you, not knowing if that's water or rocks, right? Yeah. That's what she was. And I'll tell you, having that responsibility and being accountable to her, like I swear, I've been at the office at 3:30 in the morning, pulling an all-nighter, and all I see when I want to give up is I see her face, and I see my kids, and then I see her, saying, "Don't fuck it up." No, I'm up. I'm ready. That's your 5-hour energy right there.
Yeah.
So you're at Shell. Mm-hmm. You're holding up the fort.
Yeah.
And there's a point in time in the future where you say, I want to be part of this. Mm-hmm. How did that happen?
When the company grew to a point where we needed more support, we needed better staff, we needed more people we could trust. Almin was pulling all-nighters, but not able to successfully finish what he needed to do. And watching him leave for the office before the kids woke up and come home after the kids were sleeping, I just didn't want him to go through that alone anymore. It wasn't something that anybody should go through. And so I decided to be there. I decided to help out. I decided to share that load and that burden and make him feel like he wasn't alone.
When I decided to start Stylelabs, we still had a fully functioning research company. Mm-hmm. So when I jumped ship from our first company, she quit her job at Shell and she took that company over first. She took it over and she ran that research company for 5 years.
Right. Yeah.
And she's the one who, she actually grew it to an astronomical, like it was just another level. And she actually set us up for an exit on that company, where we didn't get bought out by one company, but we actually got bought out by 3 companies in 3 different countries. And so she was the quarterback for that. And you know, she never brings that part up. But realistically, like, she held down the fort again and gave us the baseline, because all the money we had was not enough to build this technology. So that company actually fed this company for quite a while before it took off. So she has always been there, even on that end. And then when we exited, she said, okay, I'm done. Like, I got to do something for me now. And, you know, she talked about, like, Salina was pre-med, you know, she was going to become a doctor. And, you know, now she was at this age, now she would have been Patch Adams, but she wanted to do it, right?
Yeah.
And she was going to go back.
So what happened there? It's about you now.
Yeah.
Because it was about we, and you, I would use the word sacrifice. You held up the fort. Now it's about you.
But at the same time, I feel that the company is just at a different level, and I can manage anything. If I can pick up a company with very little training and take it to the next level and have that successful exit, I can take on anything. So that was my next calling, was to just be there for these businesses so that they can be there for their families, and so on and so forth.
You know, she's very humble about it, but I'll tell you, the reason that she came to Style Labs was because I was breaking. We were growing so fast. We were doing a deal a day. And, you know, we were doing everything for ourselves that we do for our clients. And we couldn't handle the volume. And the company had become too big for me to pull an all-nighter and get everything done. Could not do it on talent and on tenacity alone, right? We needed more people. We needed more leadership. So we tried things. We tried to bring in management. We tried to bring in another partner. And every time we did this, we were left cleaning up these awful messes, buying people out. Like, it was awful. I was in an awful state of mind all the time. I was miserable to be around, right? I was pissed off all the time. I would come home. I was a complete jerk. And finally, she sat me down. She said, what is your problem? Like, why are you such a dick? And I told her, I said, I'm stuck. Like, I am stuck. These people are all depending on us. And I don't know how to, I know what to do. I just don't know how to do it anymore. So she said, no more partners. She said, no more managers or leadership until we actually get, you know, a grasp on this thing. And she came in, she took over creative and social media. And I'm telling you, the company overnight leveled up. Like, all the things that I find ultra annoying about her in terms of her, like, attention to detail and how particular she is, she basically applied that in such a phenomenal way. And the way that we leveled up, it was profound. And it allowed me to work on the business instead of in the business. And then I'm really bad at hiring people. I'm awful at it because I hire from the heart. I hire friends, relatives, people who are close to me who I want to change your life. It's not about you helping me. I want to change your life. I want to create a career for you. And she's like, you're just stupid. Yeah. You are like you're grounded.
Yeah,
you're not allowed to hire.
him.
You grounded him.
I grounded him.
And
you're done. You
and
cannot fire.
She said, you're not allowed to hire or fire.
Yeah.
You can't make those decisions anymore. I had blown up accounting, bringing on a couple of people because they were friends and we were trying to give their new firm a chance. Destroyed us, put us in these awful, like, you know, receivable positions where people owed us tons of money that we couldn't even collect anymore. And she's like, why do you keep doing this? Like, don't you understand? You want to help these people. You want to create opportunities, but they're blowing up your shit.
Yeah.
You need to stop. And I command you to stop.
Selena, was that the first fight?
Oh,
Was that the big one?
No.
What was the big fight that you guys have had about this business or working together?
Today?
In general.
In general. I think, personnel issues was a huge obstacle to our scaling abilities and for us to make the right decisions, and accounting and finance and having a good grasp on those numbers and then making decisions based on data instead of your heart. So to make stronger, more methodical decisions based on those two things. So one of the biggest challenges and fights was, okay, can we afford this person? I don't know. Well, how do you not know? Right? It's been, so, how do you not know?
Yeah.
And also a little bit of control too. Suddenly I came over and took a little bit of his space, and he was used to calling the shots on his own and doing things on his own. So he had to give a little bit of control. So that was a really big fight.
Sorry, I'm just tallying up all the fights right now.
So before you jump into all those fights, one thing I tell business owners that have partners, regardless if they're married, related, or complete strangers that get together, you need to learn how to fight. You need to learn how to have an argument, a disagreement, because you're not going to agree on everything. How do you guys fight?
Our fights don't actually happen as much at the office as they do at home. So all the frustration builds up, and then we walk into our house and we throw down, right? And so we basically decided, hey, you know what? Like, this is not productive. There needs to be a better way. So a couple of years ago, we built a sheet. And in the sheet, so every time we have an issue now, we don't just randomly throw issues out at each other. I call it Salina's reign of terror, because that's what happens. She holds it all together, and then
You didn't know he said that, did you?
and then it's ninja stars, right?
At midnight.
At midnight,
Yeah.
right?
Best time.
So what we did was we said, okay, so here's the sheet, and make a list of all the thoughts, concerns, challenges, brain dump into this sheet, okay? Then take that and break it down into what the challenge is, what are your concerns, what can you do better, what can I do better, and how do we move forward?
It's a productive baseline, and it's one where, it's respectful. So using that document for sure. We also have a safe word at the office. So
You have a safe word.
have a safe word.
Yeah.
So when we're in a boardroom and when we are with our staff and our management team or whatnot, and we have disagreements. Everybody does. It's called popcorn. So sometimes we make a lot of it
Okay.
during our meetings, but yeah, we never take it to that point where it's going to hurt each other.
The reason that we believe, I'm going to speak for you because we've talked about this, that people have these violent fights and can't get over them and sometimes say things that they're going to regret, is because they're reacting instead of analyzing and assessing. And I think you have to go through that period of analysis and cool down and structure before you actually have the real fight. Fights are good. Fights are healthy, but it needs to be done in a structured and productive way. If you're just there to yell at each other, that's not getting you anywhere.
So how do you keep, I've got something to write down for Sunday. It's Tuesday. I'm pissed at him. You didn't do your thing at home with the kids. I'm making stuff up here.
Yeah.
I'm going to yell at you about that, but you're sandbagging that conversation for Sunday about business. How do you put it into different compartments?
NyQuil. You know what? We had a coach, not a marriage counselor, like a business coach, who really worked with us on leveling up our leadership capabilities. And we've read a ton of books and worked with a lot of coaches that teach us how to coexist as a married couple in business and personally. So as long as when you're having that fight, when you're having that argument, you are having it with the baseline understanding that you're on the same team, you can always move forward.
So both of you are working with small, medium-sized businesses. Some of them are solopreneurs. Some of them are married like the two of you. Have you ever had a couple sit in front of you that own a business that are not on the same page?
All the time.
All the time.
How do you deal with them?
Okay, Miss Details, I'm going to take this one.
Go for it.
So first of all, we have a very good structure and process. So they sort of have to stay in that container. We go through a guided discovery and a white glove process, and we do all of this stuff to get them on the same page. Every campaign that comes in, we assume that nobody's on the same page. And we have developed with psychologists and with researchers, we've developed these processes to basically bring everybody into alignment. So people usually don't throw down in our boardroom or in a meeting because they're in this process and structure, which our ops guy actually has done an awesome job of implementing. And it makes things way more efficient. And what it does is it facilitates collaboration. So in the past, we've had partners actually like get into fist fights
Really?
in meetings, like literally get down to shoving.
They're not married, just regular partners.
No, not married.
Okay,
no,
okay.
no, just
Scared me
regular
there for a
partners.
minute.
But now it doesn't happen anymore because everything is about process. As long as you take the experience and you put that structure in place, you actually facilitate the win for them, and they leave and come back and be like, "Huh, you've actually helped us reconcile and navigate and calibrate." You know what? It's hard. It is hard to see somebody every day, you know, in the office, at home, like we
On
actually
vacation.
on vacation, like I see this face more than any other face. It's a great face. I love this face. But the reality of it is sometimes she needs alone time. I need alone time. So we give each other this space to reboot. Because you know what, entrepreneurship's hard.
It is hard.
And you know what, we need to give each other that in order for it to be healthy.
Normally at this point in time, I have one guest and I ask that individual give 3 pieces of business advice to our viewers today. So I'm going to ask each of you for 3 pieces of advice. Salina, I'll start with you. We've got a lot of people out there that are partners and married in a business. What pieces of advice would you give them today?
If you're married and working together, the first thing you need to do is respect each other. Understand each other's strengths and weaknesses and help each other navigate through that. And don't fault your partner for not understanding certain things, you know. Stick around, hear them out, work together. You're on the same team. There's nothing that you can't do together. So be there for each other. As an entrepreneur, know your books, know your business, know your accounting, know your numbers. If you don't have that, you don't have anything. And make decisions based on that. But going back to the couple thing, understanding when to let go a little bit of control and let the other person shine. You know, take solace in the fact that, you know, your partner does an amazing job and trust that.
Almin, 3 pieces of advice you'd like to give to business owners today.
Entrepreneurship is the most difficult, most excruciating, most uncomfortable, most humbling experience that you will ever go through. It is also the best place to be because you get to control your own destiny. And so I believe that the very first thing you need to do is decide if you have what it takes. Because a lot of people fall in love with the idea of entrepreneurship, but don't have the grit to actually do it. And it's okay if you don't. When you are not aligned and when you decide that you're an entrepreneur when you're not, you are sentencing yourself to chaos and failure. The second thing is, if you're going to work with your partner, you got to lay everything out. You got to have rules. You have to know how to fight. You have to break up responsibilities in a way where you're not stepping on each other's toes. And in that process, you have to be able to bifurcate your professional and your personal relationship. You have to still go on date nights. You still need to party. You still need to have family time, go on family vacations. And that needs to be business-free time. If you don't do that, it's like you have to have 2 personalities and 2 relationships. If you don't have that, you're going to be in a constant state of stress, and that's when the bad stuff happens. And the last thing is, you know, I would tell business owners, don't be scared. Fear is a thought. It is the worry of a scenario that has not happened yet. So you know what? Push that aside and take the energy that you're going to put into fear and instead put it into growth, put it into development, and put it into serving. Like there are so many business owners. I know this is number 4, but there are so many business owners that chase money. Stop chasing money. Start chasing passion. Start chasing service. Be there for people, the money will come. But if you focus on money, you will never be fulfilled or successful. So stop. Think about where you can contribute and actually leverage your business and your superpowers to actually do that.
Salina, Almin, thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us.
If you want more real talk and tips to help you succeed in your business, subscribe to all the latest updates. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time.
Bye.